Okay, we're going to make functions a lot more useful by adding parameters and arguments. Now, the main idea, we'll talk more about what parameters and arguments specifically are, but the main idea is that we can have a function and we can pass data into that function so that the function can run with whatever information or data is passed into it or is given to the function. Okay, for this one, we'll go through these notes here, but I want to start by opening up my little sandbox so that we can test out some of this code. And actually, this looks really good. I'm going to just get rid of this for a second. Let's make this a little bigger for you. Okay, so I could have I think we did Megan morning. Hello, Megan. Have a great morning, exclamation mark. Okay, and when I call display greeting like so, let's run this. Open up my console, and we can see, hello, Megan, have a great morning. Wonderful. Don't need that. Refresh. There it is. Now, the thing here is that whenever I call this function, caps lock, sorry, display greeting, it always runs the exact same code. Hello, Megan, have a great morning. What if I didn't want to say hello to Megan, but I wanted to control who I said hello to? Maybe I wanted to say, yeah, I'll say hello to Megan, but then I want to say hello to Azra. It's a cool name. Okay, hello, Megan, hello, Azra. So it would be cool to be able to call the function and pass in a certain value that the function could use. Now, if I try to run this, it still says, hello, Megan, have a great morning, because I'm not using, like, that's what it's supposed to do. I'm not using this data that I passed in at all. Anyway, these values here are the vocabulary for that. The definition is an argument. Okay, when you pass a value into a function, that's called an argument. Now, these arguments that get passed in need to be stored somewhere. And that's where, right here, these crazy parentheses that we always had to put there but didn't know why, these parentheses are where we can define parameters. Now, parameters are just, basically, they're like a variable. I don't have to use let, though. I can just type whatever I want, and I'm going to use name. And the main idea here is that this parameter is going to store the argument that gets passed in. So when I call the function with this value here, this value of Megan is going to get stored into this variable, this parameter. And then I can use this name variable or parameter is essentially like a local variable to this function. So instead of saying hello Megan, I can cut this off and go plus name plus the exclamation mark. And now, hopefully, hello Megan, have a great morning. Hello Azra, have a great morning. Right? It uses whatever is stored inside of this variable, which the first time I call it, I pass in Megan, which gets stored in here. And then the next time I call it, I pass in Azra. And I could do something else too, display greeting to Nicholas. And it would now use Nicholas. Cool. Now, you can do more than one, right? Instead of just the name, maybe I would like to also do the time of day like we were doing. So I want to say, hello, Megan, have a great morning. Hello, Azra, have a great afternoon. And hello, Nicholas, have a great night. And then inside of here, now I'm passing two arguments separated by a comma. So I need another variable, right? The first argument will get stored in name. I just go comma, time of day, and now this next second argument will get stored into the second parameter. And then I can use, notice it's grayed out because I'm not using it, but I can now use the variable, and it should now use name and time of day and correspond to the arguments that are passed in. Hello, Megan, have a great morning. Hello, Azra, have a great afternoon. And hello, Nicholas, have a great night. Cool. So that's the main idea. And this is super useful. This is powerful because now I can reuse the same code, but I can slightly modify things inside of that code, right? I can control, oh, you know what? Let's run this function with this information. No, now let's run it with this information. Okay, so that's very useful. If we go back to our notes here quickly, arguments refer to the values passed into a function, so these ones right here. Parameters refer to these variables that are defined in the function header. right? And these are local variables. And these variables store a copy of what gets passed in. And like I said, it's really useful. Pass in different values, and the function will use those values, passing data into the function. Okay, I will copy and paste this for a second, and let's use that wonderful visualize JavaScript. And let's run it in here just to really emphasize what's happening. So again, it scanned this function and said, hey, there's a function called display greeting. Wonderful. This is what it is. And now it's going to call the function. So it opens its own little memory, say, hey, here's my function. Name and time of day are local variables. Local variables. Name gets the value Megan. Time of day gets the value morning. And now it'll use those local variables to print out the message. Then the function returns, and that memory is gone. Then it calls the function again, but this time with different arguments. So name and time of day are storing the new arguments, and it'll console.log with those arguments. And then last but not least, the Nicholas and night get passed in, and it'll run with those. So hopefully that makes you see, right, that these parameters store the values, the arguments that are passed in. All right. That's it for parameters and arguments. A little explanation of the notes here. A little assignment for you coming up to do a random phrase. You kind of did something similar to this before, but this time I want you to have a function that will take in 4 arguments, which are all different phrases, and randomly select one of the 4 arguments that are passed in. Okay, hope that made sense. Take care and see you in the next video.